Welcome back to another episode of Ethan's Code Guild, and today we're doing a guide. Today we're going to do it for Java Web Token authentication and Micronaut security. Now, for those of you who don't know, this is something you would use to secure your API endpoints. I will say there are going to be some prerequisites that you need to know before you'll be able to get this video, guys, because there are some bits we've already done. So, first one is building a database. So I'm using Docker to actually run my database, but to know how you build one, okay, that's not going to be covered in this video because it's not the scope of it. I would say if you're comfortable and you know how to do it, then this video is for you. I will probably cover building a database in a separate video. Second prerequisite is you will need some Java knowledge, guys. So what I'm going through at the minute certainly isn't like beginner level, but I would say have a bit of Java knowledge behind you and some bits hopefully you should understand. Other prerequisite, okay, is you're going to need, as well as having Docker, you're going to need to have a bit of knowledge on Micronaut. So that's what we're using today. This verification and authentication that I'm using, whilst it is applying on Micronaut, it operates very similarly across other build platforms as well. It depends on what build tool you're using, guys. This is the one I am, but as I said, you might use something different. How we're going to structure this video. So today, if it works, what we're going to do is I'm going to go through the configuration first. Okay, so this is just a setup. This isn't the actual logic, nor is it the actual code. This will surely be my YAML, for example, which configures how the thing is, how my project is built, as well as any dependencies or anything like that that you guys might need. Okay. Once we've gone through configuration, I'll go through code. Once we've gone through code, I'm going to do it in this way. I'm going to go the back end first, so you can see how it does it that side, and then I will show you the front end. Now, the front end doesn't look manically different from how you would send most requests. The key thing that slightly differentiates it is what you add extra along with normal fetch requests you would send from your front end. So, with that being said, let's get into configuration. So guys, here is my YAML. So you'll see this one, there's a couple of bits that we will go through, other bits we will not. I will just highlight this is data sources. Now this is for my database. Okay, I'm not going to go through that, but that's just what's there. This bit here, okay, this just determines how my front end can actually interact with it, okay? The cause policy is true, otherwise it won't let you do it, because it doesn't like it. The other one as well is you've got allowed origins, okay, and you've got allowed methods and headers, okay? I would say, if those of you who don't know the cause policy, that's just there if you send requests. It doesn't like it, if you don't enable it, going from one port to another port. If you tried it and you haven't set that up, it will fail, alright? The next bit, which is a key part, is security. Now that's this block here, okay? Now how the YAML works is it works similar to Python in the sense of indentation is really important. Now indentation is used to determine the level, okay? So for my YAML file, you can see that Micronaut is at the very start. That's at the start because that's what's called a top level key, okay? When you go down, you'll see as it goes more and more indented, you will get lower and lower and lower, okay? So for example, server covers this whole section, all right? And it just keeps going like that. Some of them are on the same level, okay? If they are, then they don't have any indentation and they'll carry on. That's important because it helps the YAML understand what is for what. We're looking at the security section today. This is the more important part. Now, for security, this is what you'll need. You'll see you've enabled it, turned it to true. Okay, you need that, otherwise Micronaut will not have the security that it uses in the background. Authentication. Now this can change. We're using what we call a bearer token today, but I would say this can alter across different uses. So you might not have a bearer token. You might use something else. There's lots of other tokens out there. The list is quite big. I'll show you when we go into Postman. But at the minute I'm using bearer tokens, and that's what I'm using. If you want to do something else, by all means have a look around. I'm sure there's a video out there that explains it. Once we've clarified what kind of authentication, we need to go through what that is underneath. Now in our case it's a token, okay? It's a Java Web Token, okay? It does have a signature. Now for those of you who don't know, signatures are important because you signed the token, and that is what Micronaut will check against. For the secret, which is the password essentially, we have a generator that will generate this secret here. Now this secret is the actual password itself. Okay, so that's what it is. Alright guys, on the next bit you'll see the access token for the generator has an expiration of 5 minutes, has a refresh token expiration of 14 days. Alright, that stops people staying on and just staying idle. It won't let you, for example, leave it for a certain amount of time so that someone else could jump on it. You'll see it with phones or with websites. It will say you've been logged up for a while, or we're going to log you out because you've been inactive, and other rates like that. So that is the YAML. Okay, and I just want you to keep that in mind. We will explain how the tokens actually work in a minute. I just want to show you what you need to set everything up. The build.gradle. Now for those of you who are aware, we're using Gradle within Micronaut. For that, we have our list of dependencies. Okay. Now Gradle is the actual build tool. Okay. Micronaut launch just sets up the repository for you. All right. In our case, all of these I don't need to worry about. The ones I want you to worry about are these here. This one. Okay. We've got what's called the Micronaut security, JWT. That means that all the Java Web Token stuff that we're using for Micronaut, it will pull that library into our project. If you don't include that as a dependency, what I'm about to show you will not work because Micronaut will have no clue what you're talking about. You see as well it says Spring Security Crypto. Now for those of you who probably spotted, we're using Micronaut. Why have I got Spring? Essentially, that comes down to, I was using Spring as security for the password hashing, which I'll go through what that is in a minute. You can use actual Micronaut if you want to. There is a Micronaut crypto security thing for you which you can use, and that will allow you to do essentially the same thing. Some I just haven't resolved yet, but so it works for now and it's a working model. So with that being the case guys, what I'm going to show you next is what is the Java Web Token, okay, and how does it look like when the configuration meets the logic. Right, ladies and gentlemen, this here is a diagram which really quite amply describes the use of Java Web Tokens and how they operate and work. In our case, we've got the two sides. We've got the browser, and then we've also got our app. In this case, it's my to-do list. And once we go through this, I will then show the back end of the work. So, as an example, when you send a normal request, could be a GET request, could be a post, whatever on earth it is, without the Java Web Token within it, it will come back as 401. That means unauthorized. That's a HTTP code. For those of you who don't know where to find that, I would say have a look online. If you look up HTTP codes, they're really, really useful, especially when you're trying to debug why your endpoints might not be working. As our example, the first stage is to actually send a post request. This is how you get the token, okay? Now how it works, you'll use the post, okay, use that HTTP, whatever your app is, and then log in. And then you attach what's called the payload of credentials. Now, the payload is essentially the body of any request that goes from one place to the other when you're using HTTP. Now, the data within that is formatted in what's called JSON. Those of you who don't know what that is, essentially it operates under key value pairs. So in our case, we have a username and we have a password. In that credentials, we'll have a username and we'll have a password. All right? That's what's in there for the credentials. Sends it across. This HTTP endpoint is generated automatically by Micronaut, so you don't need to put it yourself. This is the mistake I made. It'll authenticate against whatever authentication providers you have. Now, what it means by that, because it's not quite to understand, the Java Web Token is a way for you to authenticate against something so that the user can use that token for any request. So instead of, as an example, me having to send a username and password across to my app on every single request that I send across, you log in the once, send you back the token, you attach it to any further requests, you're done. The user doesn't need to put their username and password in again, you don't need to keep sending it across or anything like that. It's bad for security, it's just not a good idea. It'll authenticate, it will generate that token, and it will sign it with that secret that we showed you earlier in the YAML, okay? That's what it signs it with. You can add more if you want to within the configuration for the generator. So some people might have it where they add cookies, for example, or might use something with their IP address. There's lots of things you can edit with the token itself, and you can change that in the YAML. But for now, we're keeping it basic. All right. If it's happy with that and the authentication provider approves, says yeah, he's authorized, everything's good, it'll send back that token with a 200 OK code, and it'll have in the payload on that request coming back in JSON the following. Now this can vary depending on how you configure your token. For me, it looks pretty much the same. So you have your username, okay, John, whatever it might be, roles. Now roles are important for access control. So for example, you might have a user who only has the ability to, say my to-do list, they only have the ability to get tasks belonging to them. They can only get tasks belonging to them. They might have a role of just user, in which case they won't be able to get everyone's. I might be, as an administrator, say I need all the tasks that's been uploaded. Then I might use admin as well as user as the role, or just admin. So it depends, guys. You can have different levels of access. Expires, that's in seconds, so that's how long it expires in the token. You've got the access token, you've got the refresh token, and the token type. Okay, and that's pretty much what it looks like. When it comes through on the other side, and you've got that, and I've got the token, if I then want to send a request off to say, right, I want to create a task, when I do a, whatever you want it to be, this could be get, could be post, whatever you want, and I give it the endpoint, in the header, I'm going to attach that token in it. So that when it goes to the other side, Micronaut will look at that and go, ah, he's got a token in the header. Okay, and you set up the, wait, what's a token? So, oh, okay, cool, he's got a token. It's signed, brilliant, so that's all valid. And it checks to see if there's any other configurations or requirements. If there isn't, and it's happy, it will validate and send that back to the user with a 200 OK, along with anything it might need to have in the payload coming back. Right. That, guys, is a pretty basic rundown of how Java Web Tokens work in Micronaut. And that's it, that one. Now, you're probably wondering, with all of this that we've gone through, you're probably wondering, well, what about the authentication provider? I want to know more about that. That is the next part. So guys, authentication providers. Now this is, I'd say, not as hard to grasp once you see an example. So what I'm going to go through first is show you my table. Now you can see on the right hand side, I'm just going to bring it out a little bit, you got task list, okay, and then you got users as well. Now the users is the key part. When we go into users, and I've logged in. It's just 100% I did plan for this. Once you went into users and you've logged in, which I seem to be unable to do today. One second, guys. I got caps lock on. Rookie error. Right. There we go, now it liked it. Now this is my users table. And now what this essentially is this is a table of all users, okay, that are there. Now, how I've done this, there's one of these boxes here that are wrong. So the authentication provider, as a bit of a rundown, uses this to actually authorize. Now, there's obviously three, I'd say, key parts with this that I've included. The username, the password, and the role. Now with each request, the reason I've added role is dependent on who logs in, that is the role that's going to be attached to that token. So if I log in as, say, just a normal user, then I won't get back a role of admin. I will get back just the role of user. If I come back and I'm an admin and I'm a user, then I will get back both of those. Or just the one. It depends on how you want it set up. You got the username, you got the password. Now the username and password is what my authentication service checks. Okay guys? The only thing I would say with this is for the username, that's in normal raw text. The password, in order to secure it as it goes across, we've done what we call hash it. So it's called password hashing. Now hashing is a way of encoding a password, where when you encode it, you can see the password on the user side, but I can't see what that password is on this side, okay? Because I don't know what the raw password is. Now that's done for security, okay? Make sure it means you can keep your code safe, and means that, for example, things like cyber attacks and stuff like that, the chance, okay, of consequence is reduced by making sure you add that security for the password. My authentication service is this one here. Now you'll notice we've got three things. We've got the hasher, password hasher. That's what's used to actually hash the password. We've got the entity manager. Now that is to do with Java persistence. I won't go over that, but what I will say is that that is what essentially controls and connects to the database. Once it's got the entity manager, it will then also build the authentication adapter service, which is that one up there. Now I've only really got one key thing here for my authentication service, which is authenticate. Quite literally, that is it. There is nothing else. You don't need to do anything else. That's it. This top bit is what's important. Now when you're building your authentication service, okay, in order for Micronaut to understand when it's going through and using that login endpoint, how it knows, oh, what class am I using to verify, you add this bit in, implements HTTP authentication provider. That is what Micronaut looks for. It will look for any class that's trying to use that implementation. In our case, it generates this method, okay, as default. Now there's a couple of parts here, okay, you've got override. We are overriding some aspects, specifically the actual methods within the body, because we don't want it to be the same as what essentially it generates for us. You got at non-null. Now what that means is it means the response can't be null, so it won't let the response be null. The authentication response, that's what we're returning. That's not a class that I built, that is a class that comes in as part of the library. We got the authenticate, that's the method there. Now we've got two aspects within that. We got the kind of context of what's coming across, that can be nullable, but that's the HTTP request. And then we've also got a non-nullable argument, okay, which is the actual authentication request itself, okay. Now when it comes to this, you're probably wondering, why does he have a B there? Why is there a B there? And then we've got that, and they're in diamonds. What's all that for? Well, when it comes to Java, when it compiles, it's a typed language, so it likes to know what variables are. In our case, if we don't necessarily know the type, because keep in mind, this kind of body or this authentication service, the kind of argument that's there could be anything. We can use either a wildcard, which is a question mark, or in my case, I tend to use a placeholder, which is B, which I've essentially worded as the body, okay? Have it on both sides, so it knows it's implementing that authentication service and the provider with body. And then same for the authenticate request. The HTTP request, okay, will be a kind of data. We just don't know exactly what it is, so we put that placeholder body. The authentication request we do. Now we know what that's going to be because that is essentially the username and it's also the password, okay, in string format. I'm not sending across, for example, a object of a username and password like user payload or something like that. I'm not calling it that. I'm keeping it nice and simple, and we're just going to use the strings. Once it's got that, it'll go through the method. Now we've got a try catch here. That's quite important, guys. The try catch will allow you to make sure that if anything goes wrong, the exceptions caught, it won't break your code. It will still return an authentication response failure, okay, but it keeps your code working. For the try, if you go down, you'll see we've got authenticating user. Now I did this as a bit of logging. This, guys, will help you when it comes to the logging. When this goes wrong, which for me it does, especially when you've got the catch method, it won't always clarify what's gone wrong. So sometimes having the system out prints can be useful. Or the logs, for example, which we'll go through in a different video. You can see we've got the username. It uses get identity. That's native to the authentication request. That just gets the first thing, in this case our username. And then it also gets the password. Once again, native to that authentication request, that will get the string, which will be our password. Once it's done that, it will find the user. Now that goes to our table, goes, right, where is that user located? If it finds it, say if it can't find it, sorry, then it comes back saying the user's null, okay, then it won't like it. It will come back and essentially say, there we go, essentially say nah, and it will return a failure. If, for example, it can find it, it will then proceed to check. Now this uses my password hasher. Now, this is using what's called BCrypt, which we'll go through in a bit, but essentially this method will check whether the raw password, once kind of hashed, matches the user's password that we have on our system. If it does, then it will say user success. It will return the fact that the user, well, the user, whoever's been verified, that's what it will put on as the sub or name on the token. The second argument is a collection. Okay, now this collection is essentially the roles for the user. In our case, we don't need to populate it with our own roles because we've added the role as part of the user on the table. So it just gets that and adds it on. Okay, that keeps it scalable, keeps it maintainable. If, for example, it doesn't, it comes back saying failure, gives the password given and stored, that's just for troubleshooting, and then that returns the failure, okay, which it will show you when you look at your front end. Now that that one's done, that is essentially all of it, okay, that is how you build your authentication service. Now, this middle bit is the way I've done it. You guys might want to do it yourselves in a different way. That is absolutely fine. In fact, I encourage you to. I'd love to see and hear about how you guys might have used it yourselves. It would be really nice to hear and see, and I'll be able to potentially learn something as well from you guys. So that'd be good. Once you've done that, we'll go on to the next bit. In our case, the only thing I'll quickly gloss over is this. Now, I don't need to go through this because this isn't part of the really the context of the video. All I will say is this whole function or set of functions help get the user. Alright? Now, not that one, we don't need that anymore. There we go, password hasher. Now this is the hasher. This is what hashes and checks the password, okay? Now there's lots of things you can do with hash passwords, guys. What I'd say is, keep it simple to begin with. You can add things what are called salts and extras. Now salts essentially are just some extra characters at the end of the password. You don't have to add that, okay? But you could if you want to. Now the reason why some might choose to do that, as you saw, we're hashing the password. There are places and websites you can go to where it will give you or show quite a large collection of what hash passwords look like, okay? Based on certain settings. Now you can change things with this password hasher, like the strength of encryption, the strength of encoding, and also adding the salts and things like that, but you don't have to. Now, we kept it simple. We just got the two methods: hash password, okay, and check password. You can see, encodes it, okay, and that one quite literally checks it to see whether it's true or false. That's it. There is nothing else, guys. Registration service, okay. That one we're working on at the minute, but that one essentially is just there for registering users. So that just goes through and adds the user on the table. That's it. That's all for that one. The next bit, which is probably a bit more important, is what we got here, which is the task management controller. Now this here has a couple of key setup points that you need to keep in mind. The first one is this bit here, which is at secured. Okay. Now when you use at secured, really you've got a couple of options. Okay. So you can use is secured and then is authenticated. That's an option. In my case, for best practice, and I do think it's best practice, you can use that secured and you can actually specify what roles of that user, sorry, let me rephrase that. What roles does that token need to have in order for you to access the method? In our case, we've got a user and admin. Now you might want to expand this, there could be more than that, there could be a few other roles. If you wanted, you can add it on there. I'm sure there's other ways that you could do this if you wanted to. In my case, I just wanted to do it that way. so I've done it this way, but it's entirely up to you guys. Now, when it comes to this, if for example you have at secured is authenticated and you just include a role for the user, then you don't technically need this bit, okay? I'll As I said, that role thing is just for me personally. Depending on where you put this at secured, it's going to determine what needs security. So in my case, I've included that on just the whole controller itself as the top level. So all of these methods need that security. Okay. You may wish to customize it. So for example, the get task with ID, you might not want a user to have access to that, but you may want admin to have access to that. If that's the case, you can simply add the @secured, get rid of the user, and replace admin, and then just add it to the top of that method just there. Alright, so that's an option. That is how that one works. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you in Postman first of all. Postman, if you don't know guys, really good testing tool. Essentially it allows you to see what comes across as a result of your endpoints. That's quite useful because if, just as an example, if you needed to see what's going wrong, or you wanted to see what actual thing you're getting back, then it can be easier to do on Postman than it can be on your mock front end. And it just helps split it up so you know what's going wrong. So in my case, if I bring this across, you'll see we've got the default login, okay? You'll see we've got in the body the username and password. Now that's related to the one you could see on the table. We will simply send that across. Brilliant. And you'll see it returns exactly what we've got shown in the diagram, which is the access token, type, expiry, username, and then we also have the roles. Okay. One key mistake that I found, guys, when you're using this, seems to depend on the version you have. I've got no idea why this happens, by the way, but if you have no roles when you set it up, and you use is authenticated, for example, or you include the roles themselves, then what will happen is it will come back saying forbidden. Apparently that can be to do with if it can't find any roles in the token, then it just assumes you don't have the role to access anything, so it will stop you. I will highlight, I could be completely wrong about that. This is what worked for me, so if you find that that is wrong and you think it's something else, then by all means let me know. I'm certainly open to learn, but that's all I can say. Once you've got this, the key thing you'll need is this bit here. Now I made the mistake of thinking when I was sending the request to my endpoints, after I did this, I would potentially have to send the whole thing. You don't. The rest of this is just information. All of this stuff is already linked to that token in the Micronaut server end side. Once we've done that, we can go on to our task. In my case, I'm using my create task function. Alright, fairly simple guys, didn't really make the unreal complex. There we go. But in our case, okay, under authorization, I will pop in my token, there's that one there. And then in my body, you can see what I've done there is included my task object model. Now this isn't necessarily specific to yourself, this is just specific to the actual function I'm currently using. It requires that in the body. So because we got that token, when I send it, comes up with nothing, which is good. Let me go on to our task list. There we go. You can see it's added it just in there. Alright, and that's all there, guys. Now, that's all you need for that one. Now I've done this a few times as you can tell, but there was 3 prior, so that's 4 good time. Now with that being the case, what happens if you try to do it without the correct authorization? There we go. You can see guys, we just got that unauthorized right there. Now that is how it can work. I would really encourage all of you to try it with a working token and without a working token. Because if you do it with a working token and a valid token, sorry, and it works, and you go, oh brilliant, my authentication is working. Not necessarily. You have to try it without a token, without a valid token as well. Alright? And that, guys, is how you can test it in Postman. How does this look on the front end? Well, on the front end side, I'll show you. 1 second. You'll see here, we've got a login page. Now in my case, it's already pre-populated my username and password. I've used this prior. I go and sign in, has my login successful, and then you can see I've got both tasks, they're both there, nice and happy. Now when you have a look, it gets the tasks, it returns it, okay, as an array. That only happens because of the fact I've logged in and I've logged in successfully. If, for example, I try to log in and I do not have a valid username and password, right here, for example, GH. Don't know why I'm choosing GH. This is what I've chosen. Sign in, invalid username and password. Won't go any further. And that, guys, is how you secure your application using Micronaut and using Java Web Tokens. That's it, guys, for today's video. That is literally all I was going to include. Oh, never mind, actually. That wasn't what I was going to include. I will quickly show you, so I don't need to be lost in wonder. For the two sections, the one is showing you what it looks like from a login perspective, the other one is showing you what it looks like in the actual methods when you're trying to access the tasks. In my case, you can see for the fetch, we've not really got it any different than what we tried on Postman. It's got on there the URL, okay, same one we entered in Postman. Same method post, same in terms of headers. The body is in JSON, it's stringified because all those attributes are in string format. Username, password, all there. And then once it does it, it just brings them across over to that new task dashboard. Now, if you go over to the task dashboard, sorry, the to-do list, this is the actual Java. If you go to the, let's go to the top, shall we? There we go, get tasks. Now you'll see, that's a bit complicated actually, we're trying to show you an easier one. Ah, here we go, this is much nicer. This one here is to add a task. Okay, this is all this function does. Alright, now with this one, you can see we got the URL, okay, which is that create task. On the fetch, we're also including in the header section this bit here. Okay, now what you'll find that I've done, which you don't have to, is you can do what's called set items or put items in your local browser storage. Okay, now this lasts for while the user has that window open. In our case, we've nicknamed it JWT token, and that's what we pop into it. We do that to avoid popping the bearer token in each and every one ourselves. Alright, makes it a bit easier. How we do that is quite simple. On the login request, you can see here, once it's got an OK response and it's got the data back, this is the token by the way, we will store and set that item in local storage under the key of JWT token with the value of the access token within that data coming back. When it sends it back, I would suggest, guys, it's worth printing and understanding what format it provides it to you. In my case, it was under that access token just there. Therefore, that is the key I needed to use within the data to ensure that in my local storage I had just the Java Web Token. And that's it, guys. That is literally from front to back how you can set up and build your own Java Web Token and authentication. If you had any questions, okay, I would really encourage you guys to let me know down in the comments below. Let me know what it is you'd like to know. And I hope that really helped. I'll be honest with you guys, I don't think there was really many videos out there, to be honest with you, that showed you in a just maybe not as technical manner how you can kind of authenticate people. As per usual, this will all be on my GitHub, okay, so you're welcome to pull the GitHub yourselves, test it yourselves, whatever you want to do, okay, have fun, experiment, okay, it's just a chance for you guys to learn. And give it a go, maybe putting in your own authentication, let's see what you think. With that being the case though, guys, I will see all of you soon in the next video. I hope you enjoyed. If you can, like, love the channel, and I will see you all soon. Take care, guys. Bye bye.